Morning, and welcome to the regular session of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors meeting, also sitting at Special Taxing District, February 19, 2026, 9 a.m. Board members will attend either in person, by telephone, or remotely via electronic conferencing, and I believe we have Supervisor Lyons on the phone. Can you hear us? Okay. All right, thank you. Um, can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Supervisor Simmons, can you please lead us?
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move on to call to the public. Call to the public is held for public benefit to allow individuals to address issues within the board's jurisdiction. Board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute 38-431.01H, action taken as of the result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or scheduling the matter for further discussion and a decision at a future date. Public comments may be made in person or submitted by email at publiccomments@yumacountyaz.gov. The email forms of public comments will be accepted until 8 a.m. the morning of the meeting. All public comments will be read out loud during the Yuma County Board of Supervisors meetings that starts at 9 a.m.
We
Do
did
we
not
have
receive
any-
any email comments.
Do we have any emails? We don't?
No.
I do have a speaker form to cut to the public, but it's for an agenda item, so I'll call you when I open up the agenda. Thank you. Anybody else from the public that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, I'll move on to presentations, proclamations, and appointments. During this segment of the agenda, board members may discuss the presentations and proclamations and may announce appointments to the Yuma County Planning and Zoning Commission and the Yuma County Board of Adjustments. No illegal actions will be taken. Do we have any appointments?
No.
No. Moving on to item number 1, Chairman proclaims remembrance of life and service of Sheriff John R. Phipps in Yuma County, and we have Supervisor Simmons reading the proclamation.
Proclaiming remembrance of the life and service of Sheriff John R. Phipps. Whereas retired Sheriff John R. Phipps devoted more than 30 years of his life to public service and law enforcement in Yuma County, serving with honor, integrity, and dedication. And whereas Sheriff Phipps began his service with Yuma County Sheriff's Office in 1962, serving in numerous roles throughout the county, gaining firsthand experience in the diverse responsibilities of law enforcement service. And whereas Sheriff Phipps was elected and sworn in as Sheriff of Yuma County in 1981, serving 3 terms until his retirement in 1992, which he provided steady leadership and upheld the highest standards of professionalism and conduct. And whereas Sheriff Phipps was widely respected as a mentor and leader whose loyalty, dedication, and personal sacrifice helped shape the growth and development of the Yuma County Sheriff's Office. And whereas the passing of Sheriff John R. Phipps is profound loss to Yuma County, the law enforcement community, and all who had the privilege of knowing and working alongside him. Now, therefore, the chairman of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors proclaims remembrance of life and service of Sheriff John R. Phipps, and does hereby honor and recognize the life, service, and legacy of John R. Phipps, and extends its deepest sympathy to all family members, friends, and colleagues who mourn his passing, and joins the community in remembering a life dedicated to public service. And I've got the honor of reading this at his memorial service next week, which time I'll present it to his family. And I just want to note, he's the one that hired me with the sheriff's office back in 1990 when I started with them, and he was a tough act to follow for Ralph Ogden, but he'll be missed.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. Moving on to item number 2, presentation of the Yuma County Quarterly Safety Excellence Award, and we have Carlos and Yesenia.
Good morning, Chairman
morning.
Porchas and members of the board. I am Yesenia McCormick, Risk Management Specialist with Yuma County. At Yuma County, safety is more than a set of rules. It's a core value that defines how we serve the public and protect our workforce. The success of Yuma County and the Superior Court relies on the vigilance and innovation of our team, and we remain dedicated to ensuring a secure, healthy environment for every employee and citizen. To celebrate those who go above and beyond in this mission, we established the Safety Excellence Award. This program allows any employee to nominate a peer who exemplifies the safety-first mindset. While every nominee is celebrated with a certificate and a feature in the UCount newsletter, our quarterly winners receive a $100 check and a USafe Arctic tumbler. These winners also become eligible for our top honor, the Annual Safety Excellence Award, and a $250 prize. To share more about the individuals who stood out this quarter, I'll turn the floor over to our Safety and Security Coordinator, Carlos Marquez.
Hello, good morning, Chairman Porchas, members of the board. My name is Carlos Marquez, Safety and Security Coordinator for Yuma County, and I'm delighted to commend the outstanding nominees for Safety Excellence for the fourth quarter of 2025 and announce a deserving winner. Today, we have the privilege of acknowledging 2 exceptional employees who have been nominated for their dedication to safety from October to December of 2025. A big thank you to those who nominated these individuals, whose contributions truly make a difference in our safety culture. And to the nominees in attendance, please stand as I announce your names for well-deserved recognition. First up, we'll have Luis Serrano Molina. He's an Equipment Technician 2 at Public Works with 4 years of service for the county. I am pleased to highlight the exceptional contributions of Mr. Serrano Molina, whose proactive approach to safety and operational efficiency has significantly enhanced Yuma County fleet operations. By installing a strategic mirror on the shop's wheel alignment machine, Luis has enabled technicians to navigate vehicle ramps safely without the need for a second observer. This simple yet effective innovation has streamlined the alignment process, effectively doubling technician autonomy while maintaining the highest safety standards. Furthermore, he is currently developing custom extension cord stands to eliminate persistent trip hazards. His initiative not only improves floor safety, but also reduces long-term operational costs by minimizing the need for cord protectors, tape, and frequent equipment replacements. Beyond these technical improvements, Luis's leadership has fostered a culture of accountability on the light-duty side of the fleet shop. He consistently addresses safety discrepancies on the spot, such as clearing hazardous material lockers, and strictly adheres to hot work protocols by utilizing permits, fire watches, and welding screens. Through his enthusiastic reminders of leading by example, Luis has inspired his peers to maintain a clean and debris-free environment, reaching a level of workplace standards where safety is a priority. Thank you, Luis. And then next up, we have Miguel Mike Sanchez. He's an investigator, mitigation specialist at the Public Defender's Office with 4 years of service for the county. As a department safety officer and retired post-certified law enforcement officer, Miguel Sanchez demonstrates exceptional responsiveness during 2 safety incidents in late 2025. In the first, he immediately documented a county employee's fall outside a county facility by assessing the scene, photographing conditions, and completing safety reports for risk management. His prompt actions enabled timely evaluation of hazards and supported measures to prevent future incidents and reinforcing the county's commitment to workplace safety. In the second incident, torrential rain caused damage to the 2nd Avenue office, impacting a workspace occupied by 4 employees. Miguel again responded without delay, documented conditions prior to remediation, and assisting the most effective employee in relocating to a safe, dry area. Working in coordination with facilities, he helped ensure employee safety and alleviated concerns regarding potential electrical and environmental hazards. Starting last quarter, the Public Defender's Office also participates in community cleanup on First Street. Miguel supports these cleanup efforts by ensuring participants wear appropriate high-visibility clothing and personal protective equipment while clearly communicating safety boundaries. His leadership and contributions continue to advance employee safety and risk prevention across departmental activities. Thank you, Miguel. With exceptional nominees, choosing a winner was a challenging task for the Safety Committee. However, after careful consideration, we have made our selection. I am delighted to announce the recipient for the Safety Excellence Award, fourth quarter of 2025 calendar year. Please join me in congratulating Luis Serrano Molina. Nominees, if you could step up, take a photo.
Want to get together?
Again, congratulations, Mike and Luis. Moving on to item number 3, presentation by CEO President Greg Levon of Greater Yuma Economic Development. Morning, Greg.
Chairman, Board,
Morning,
good to
Greg.
see everyone. All right, I'm going to keep my presentation brief today. I respect for your time. Okay. Thank you. So I always like to start all my presentations by demonstrating our wheel of responsibilities. For most people that think about GYDC, they associate us with essentially bringing in new companies. But what they don't realize is that we spend 80% of our money trying to attract new industry, where 80% of our time is dedicated to building the foundation that makes Yuma a great place to do business. So as you can see here, from workforce development, site selection, to public advocacy, to public policy, to key stakeholder engagement, research, market analysis, BRE, attraction, our services are wide-ranging. And ultimately, for us, in order to attract new companies, to help companies expand, we have to do all these additional services at the local level. And so we do this every single day with a mighty team of 5 people and 1 contractor. But I can tell you that each one of my staff members works at the speed and pace of 5 individuals. And at the mid-year point of our new fiscal year, we've already had the pleasure of welcoming 4 new companies to our local area, creating over 214 new jobs, and most importantly, creating a high wage of salary that essentially creates a higher quality of life for individuals to buy homes, take care of their families, and pass on generational wealth, which is our ultimate goal. Every job is not created equally, and so we want to ensure that the jobs that we do create are improving the lives of Yuma County residents and ensuring that they can continue to pass along their benefits to their family. Capital investment as well. Every single dollar that's spent in this community from capital investment goes into the county coffers for property taxes, and so as you invest in us, we want to ensure that we're returning our investment back to you through actual tangible dollars and intangible goods as well. And so within here, you can see a number of different metrics that we measure ourselves by with Chairman Porches, along with Supervisor Lyons as our board members. And so we want to ensure that people that evaluate our organization, since we have 5 municipalities and we have 140 private investors, can look at different metrics for if we're performing, if we're addressing the needs of the community. And we're very proud of what we've accomplished already at the mid-year point. Along with that, you can see that our efforts span from East County all the way down to South County. No matter where a company locates in Yuma County, we know that people are being employed across the entire area, and so we're able to keep track of the companies we're working with to demonstrate that these individuals are being employed. Whether the company lands in San Luis, people are still working from Yuma and vice versa. And now, on the economic horizon, what are we tracking right now? Working with Alejandro at the county, we're looking at 4 different major developments that we know are going to shape the landscape of Yuma County going forward. The first one being Opportunity Zones 2.0. Working with Alejandro, we're actually going to be holding a roadshow seminar on April 14th here in Yuma County offices to educate our public bodies along with our local businesses as well on how the new version of Opportunity Zones will benefit them, how they can essentially take advantage of the program that's intended to drive investment and development within rural communities, and also work with them to ensure that they have all the programmatic procedures in place so that they can start to apply for them. Along with that, data centers. We know that data centers are coming here as well. I mean, they're everywhere. They become a taboo item across the country, but we think that as an organization, our job is to find the good actors within the space and ensure that if they're going to locate here, they're going in the right areas that do not take out prime agriculture, that do not affect military operations, and obviously do not affect the residents of the community as well. And so as we move forward, we're going to be working on projects that are landing on federal land, but also projects that are landing on private land as well. And so we're already kind of building that foundation and that support group and educating our municipal partners on what they should be planning for and ensuring that these data centers go in the right area, don't take up a lot of natural resources, and essentially are contributing far more to the community than they're taking from the community as well. And then major infrastructure projects. We know right now, I believe one of the groups have come before the county, Grupo Clisa, but we have 2 other natural gas pipeline projects that are being proposed to be developed in either New Mexico or Texas and come westbound through Yuma County into Mexico. And so if we're going to allow those pipelines to come through our community, we want to ensure that we can benefit from that by essentially tapping a straw into that pipeline, generating power for our community, creating redundancy, resiliency, and ultimately allowing us as an economic development group and the county to attract the right users to our community that create more property taxes, create jobs, and ultimately continue to raise the value and standard of living in our community. And then lastly, foreign trade zone. We already have 3 new companies that have applied and been certified through the foreign trade zone that we administer, and we have 3 additional companies that are at different stages of application, because as a trade imbalance has continued to be addressed by our new administration, companies now really have to evaluate if they want to stay in their foreign markets and continue to incur a lot of costs, or if they want to consider coming back onto the domestic soil, producing here, which is the ultimate goal, creating jobs, and then ultimately they can benefit from the foreign trade zone, which is intended to help domestic-bound manufacturing compete against foreign competition. And so we'll continue to work with the county on this project. Every new foreign trade zone user that applies for property tax reclassification has to come before the board. So you may see me in the next couple of weeks as well, or next couple of months, sorry. And then we're also working from a marketing standpoint, as we talked about. Yes?
Great. Yeah, I have a question on the
Sure.
foreign trade zone there. Who basically decides what areas are made free trade zone?
So back in 2012, actually our organization went to the Foreign Trade Zone Board, which is under the Department of Commerce, and we applied for what's called an alternate site framework, which essentially allows for 2,000 acres anywhere in Yuma County for foreign trade zone activity. So as long as the landowner or the property owner is okay with it, then any area in Yuma County can be cited as a foreign trade zone. And then as I talked about earlier, when it comes to stakeholder engagement and actually going out there and telling our story, working with our cities on establishing their own marketing guides that we actually created to help them tell their own story. And then along with that, helping our major employers here as well to essentially help recruit new talent to the area. For the longest time, I've always talked about the fact that if we're not telling our story, somebody else is going to be, and that becomes problematic. So we organize a marketing coalition that includes some of our largest employers in Yuma County, along with our public bodies, to essentially start working on telling our own story throughout the country. And so we have actually now in multiple publications, social media efforts are now going into markets where we know our major employers are recruiting from quality talent, and we're starting to tell the Yuma County story on a more broad spectrum and give more granularity to what our community is about. All the great things that we know make up Yuma County, now we're starting to let the people know that, as opposed to them reading in the headlines about all the salacious things that they think are happening in our backyard. And then along with that as well, we created a binational attraction strategy in combination with GYPA and Alejandro as well, and it's been a very successful first year of execution. Carlos Armando Mejia has worked with GYPA on establishing a cross-border pilot program to demonstrate to users coming across a border that it is efficient, that they can actually move their goods very quickly through here, and if they have the right tools and the right playbook in hand, they don't have to worry about delays. And so that one has been launched for this fall produce season. And then we also have worked with him on bringing in investors, developers, and companies from Mexico that may have an interest in doing business in our backyard. And up to this point, we've had 18 different visits with different investors, developers, and companies from Mexico with the whole sole purpose of saying, we know that we work very closely with our partners in Mexico, but as they have to evaluate where they're going to do business going forward in America, we don't want them flying over Yuma County. We want them landing here in our backyard, operating here, and then servicing America through our community. And then data support, we provide this to the county and all of our other partners with the intent of essentially helping them, do their own economic development efforts while leveraging funds that we pay for these very expensive software programs as well. And then along with that, one of my staff members, Amber Sheck, is going to be coming before this board within the next couple of weeks to talk about the SEDS. Very quickly, SEDS are an economic development administration program that's established to identify future public infrastructure projects in a community. And once you identify those within your SEDS, which is a comprehensive economic development strategy, it gives you priority as you go out and apply for grants through the Economic Development Administration. As you can see here, we engage all of our different public bodies, ask them for projects that they identified as being primary drivers for future economic development efforts. And so now all of these projects are in the SEDS, which now as these communities are ready to start going after grant dollars, they will have a higher priority in the process, and hopefully we can capture all $35 million to bring back to our community to help drive forward water, sewer, and railway projects, and help offset costs for our communities as well. And then lastly, you can see here, our focus going forward in regards to how we do economic development is really targeted by industries and by regions. And so we're not just doing this, in the dark. We're not closing our eyes and just shooting at different targets. We know where we want different projects to land. We know different areas which make sense. And we also have identified that there are certain areas that we don't want to touch as well that relate to agriculture and military. So just to give you a level of comfort that our efforts are very clear, very methodical, and very sophisticated on our focus for the future. And with that, I would love to hear any comments, questions you may have for me.
Good report. No, I just saying it's a good report.
Thank you.
Supervisor Lyons, any questions or comments for Greg?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you for the time and investment. All right,
Let
have a
you
good day.
off easy.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 4, presentation of the mix with the Yuma County and El Condado, informado by Yuma 77.
Welcome to The Mix. The Yuma County Public Works Department hosted its 4th annual Career and Technical Education event, welcoming over 320 high school students for a hands-on look at career pathways. Students rotated through 29 vendors, including APS, Arizona Western College, and Yuma County Sheriff's Office, spending a total of 15 minutes at each stop. Public Works staff highlighted their divisions and community roles.
We see vendors, we see companies, we don't necessarily know maybe the nitty-gritty of what they do on a day-to-day basis. So having these vendors kind of have a 15-minute window to be able to present what exactly they do out on the field kind of showcases the whole embodiment of what they do in their day-to-day jobs.
The day ended with a barbecue for vendors and students. Yuma County property owners learned how to better protect their homes and records during a recent Community Resource Day in Yuma. The free event brought together the county recorders, assessors, and treasurer's offices to explain property records, valuation, and taxation. Officials shared tips on guarding against deed fraud, noting several cases in recent years, and encouraged residents to sign up for the county's free recording alert system to help monitor activity on their property records. Courts across Arizona hosted a statewide reaffirmation of oath ceremony Thursday, February 12th, marking Arizona Rule of Law Day and the nation's 250th anniversary. The Arizona Supreme Court and State Bar led simultaneous events in all 15 counties. In Yuma County, presiding Judge David M. Hawes administered the oath at noon in the historic courtroom as legal professionals reaffirmed their commitment to the rule of law. It's time to recognize this quarter's Safety Excellence Award winner. Technician Luis Serrano Molina, this quarter's Safety Excellence Award winner, is keeping a local automotive shop safer and more efficient. He added a mirror above the wheel alignment machine, built a stand to keep extension cords off the floor, and follow strict welding safety protocols. His efforts have earned praise for a clean, hazard-free workspace. Thanks to Luis for keeping employees safe and the shop running smoothly. Thanks for tuning in. Residents can catch the latest episode of The Mix by visiting yumacountyaz.gov and navigating to the VOD section. You can also head over to the Yuma County's official YouTube channel. English episodes are available under the Mix playlist, while Spanish-speaking viewers can find the Spanish version under El Condado Informado. Both platforms offer access to current and past episodes. ¿Prefiere ver The Mix en español? No se lo pierda. La versión en español del programa está disponible bajo la lista de reproducción El Condado Informado en el canal oficial de YouTube del Condado de Yuma. Gracias por acompañarnos. We'll see you next time.
That was The Mix. Moving on to consent calendar, the following items listed under the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion. Unless a board member so requests, in that event, that item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. And I have items 1 through 10, I believe. Yes. Any remove an item or?
Well, if nobody wants to remove an item, I'll make a motion. We approve items 1 through 10 as presented.
There's a motion. I'll second that. There's a motion and a second to approve consent calendar as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Lyons? Supervisor Lyons?
Okay.
Oh. Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to discussion and action items, and board will open each of the following items separately for discussion and action as appropriate, and we have item number 1, grants. Discussion and possible action to prioritize the proposed projects for the fiscal year 2026 Community Development Block Grants applications to the Arizona Department of Housing.
Good morning,
Diane, good
Mr.
morning.
Chairman. Good morning,
Morning.
members of the board. Diana Veloz with County Administration, Community Planning Administrative Director. Today I'm here because of our CDBG program. I have a very quick presentation just to give you an overview and just to remind you of what the program is about, since we do this every 2 years. So the Community Development Block Grant Program is also known as CDBG, and it's a federally funded program that was established in 1974. It is based on a formula grant, and it is available throughout the United States to all 50 states. So Yuma County is considered non-entitlement, which means that we have to apply to the state for these funds. entitlement communities get the allocation straight from HUD. So we share our allocation with other jurisdictions within our county. So this year, Yuma County gets to share their allocation with the town of Walton. And next year, City of San Luis and City of Somerton will get the allocation. So this is the way the state establishes how they're going to distribute their funding. So they get their funding, they get a percentage of that funding for administration, and then a portion of that funding goes to regional account. So we will be discussing regional account funding sources today, but within these applications that the state gives out, the opportunities that they have, we also have the state special projects, and we also have the Colonia, which is competitive, which is only for housing, water, and sewer projects. The state special projects have been open, and we can apply for more programs now. And that is, those two competitive grants are out every year. So every single year we can apply to those two competitive programs. But the regional account, we only get every other year. So when we are talking about these projects, in order for them to be eligible, they have to meet one of the national objectives of HUD. And our projects normally fall within the low to moderate income, and we can do that with an area benefit. We can benefit an entire area if they are low to moderate income, or we can do limited clientele. Slum and blight as well, but there's caveats to that. You have to make sure that the board actually declares that area slum and blighted in order for it to be eligible. An urgent need, we don't normally ever use that because CDBG funds take about a year to come back. So we're talking to you today about these projects, but they won't be funded probably 8 to 12 months from now, depending on how of how those contracts are given to us. So for example, these are some of the activities that we could apply for with these funds. They're very flexible funds, so you can apply for public services, sidewalks, street improvements. You can do community centers with these. You can also do planning with them as well. Here are some of the past projects that we've done with the regional account CDBG. Just to name a few, we have funded the Catholic Community Services for their safe house expansion. We have funded the Avenue B and C Ferguson Lateral Canal design, which is still underway right now. We funded HVAC replacement units for Comité Sin Fronteras. So the first public meeting for CDBG was held December 2nd. That is when we had the call to invite all the nonprofits, any community people that wanted to speak on the projects that they thought the community needed. During that meeting, we also put out an application form. If these nonprofits want to apply for a project, they were able to pick up the application at that meeting. Those applications were due January 9th, and we went ahead and did some reviews on those to make sure that they were an eligible project. So this is, we are here today for you to take a look at those projects. We've already established that they are eligible, and we want the board today to go ahead and rank those projects. So that's why we're here at this meeting today. And just moving on, as you pick those projects, Yuma County is eligible to apply for 3 projects. You don't have to apply for 3 projects. The other municipalities only have the chance to apply for 1 project. So you can apply for 1 or you can apply for 3, however you see fit. Once we establish what applications you want to move forward, then we, in the grants division, will go ahead and work on those applications, and we will turn them in May 26th. That's when they're due. So before that happens, we will have a second public meeting just to establish what projects that we picked. And we will, the first public meeting and the second public meeting are required by the state for us to have those meetings. So ADOH will then review all those applications, and in October of 2026, like I said, to December, we'll get those contracts for those projects that we picked. So these are the applications that we received for the regional accounts. The first one is the Yuma Community Food Bank. They are looking to replace their 20-year-old freezer with a new freezer. It's about 50, but it's a pretty big freezer, so they're asking for $300,000 today. They are here, all of the nonprofits that you see up here, they're here to answer any questions that you might have about their project. I did include a summary in your packet with the projects that they wanted to receive funding for, but I'm just gonna go over them really quick here. So Comité de Bienestar, they're looking to replace 76 windows within their, 260 windows within their 76 units. And they're also looking to finish the phasing of their HVAC project. They have 12 more HVAC units to remove and replace in those Las Casitas apartments. Housing America is planning to also remove and replace windows with the energy efficient windows in 16 of their units. They're also wanting to do a full renovation on one of their units to establish ADA compliance. Campesinos Sin Fronteras, they are looking to do an emergency OHR, so emergency owner-occupied housing rehabilitation for 20 low-income households. And they are asking for $110,000. Then we will move on and rank the state special projects. We have 2 projects in that state special projects. They are the Ferguson Lateral, the West Main Canal to build a bike multi-use path in that area. Like I said, we have funded the actual planning of it. Right now, we're in final design. This would be to move into construction. And of course, this state special project is competitive, so we don't know if we would get the funds at all. But the next project on here is the Tacna-Kiwanis Park. They are in need of an ADA bathroom out there, and that is also at $500,000. Let's see. The Colonia set aside, we don't necessarily have an infrastructure project right now. We do have our OHR, our Housing Rehabilitation Program, that we usually apply for about 5 homes to rehabilitate about 5 homes in that area. And right now, do you all have any questions on any of these projects that you would like to hear from the nonprofits from?
Diana, question. We normally get funding the CDBG money, huh? So what we're applying for is basically for the projects, or the money. Every 2 years we get it.
We have to apply for that funding through the state. It's an allocation that is available to us, but we do have to put in eligible projects forward in order to receive those funds. And I think last year, 2 years ago, we got about $450,000 around there. Right now, we don't actually know what that number is, so we're just estimating that it's going to be around the same. So we're thinking we have, and with that $450,000, we do take a percentage for administration for the projects and for our time as well. There's a lot that goes in there. There's also technical assistance that we have to keep in mind, and there's also audit fees that we have to keep in mind for that program. So right now, we're estimating about $380,000 for those projects. That's available. It could go up or it could go down.
And then another question on the lateral canal, that West Main to Fifth Street, that pathway, multi-use pathway project. I thought when we started talking about that the CDBG money was going to be used for that.
Mr. Chairman, the CDBG money was used for only the final design portion of it. We had anticipated that we would be using that for final design and construction, but the cost was very high, and we had only allocated about $175,000 to that project. So the project is over $500,000 just for construction right now. We are applying for different grants for that West Main Canal as well. We have put in for a FLAP grant with ADOT, and we are trying to look into a technical assistance grant with ADOT as well.
You know, just for some reason, I thought that was the direction that the board gave, you know, back when we received the funds, or we were going to receive CDBG, and I understand, you know, it's like you said, it's got to be labeled slum and blight, but I mean that area, we don't need to label it. It's pretty much, and you know, we don't see Gail here anymore, but she really did a lot of work trying to get that area fixed and beautified. So I on our behalf, I think we're letting her down, because this project's the competitive money, that's just it's a shot in the, you know, they're very competitive, and I just hope we continue on that path of trying to do it with, you know, maybe with the next year. I know this year's it's late, but I'll tell you what, I'd rather lose the money next time we're gonna get CDBG, and I won't have this on the agenda. If I'm still the chair, I won't have it. Because you know, I thought that was the direction that we had given, but
Mr. Chairman, originally when we did come to the board, that project was going to be for design and construction. We had to come to the board a second time to reduce that scope because the price was so high on the construction of that project. So
but
I understand what you're saying, and we're doing everything we can to try and.
I think it's and I remember Frank was here in front and saying that but we can find ways of making it happen. I just want to make sure that we focus on certain things that are going to benefit quite a few people, residents in Yuma County, not just 20, 30, or 40. I want, like I've said, this is money that should be helping or supporting, you know, many people in Yuma County. That's what the money was intended for. So okay, now you want us to rank the projects?
Yes, we can go ahead and start ranking. Okay, Mr. Chairman, we can start with you, of course, if you'd like to start just going down the list and ranking them as 1, 2, 3 on your side. So for the Yuma Community Food Bank, do you have a number for that?
I'll do the Community Food Bank 2. I'll do the Campesinos 1, and Housing America 3. And the reason I'm for Comité de Bienestar, I think 2024, they received some funds.
They did receive
So,
funds, yes. So you would rank that fourth?
Just keeping it, kind of trying to spread out that money.
Okay. And then-
I agree with Jonathan, put mine the same as his.
I want to talk about it generally. If you're going to impact many people, impacting 16, impacting 20, it's not really a good use of the funds. And I agree that Yuma Community Food Bank should be number one. It impacts a lot of people, and a lot of people are on that situation. But the rest of them are just 76, 16, and 20. So 20 and 16 would make it 36. That's not even half what the other project would do with 70 units. So if you're talking about impact, the CDBG impact on people, that's not a very good use of our money. We should distribute it some more. I've always thought that the CDBG funds were the only funds that we could transfer to the community in ways that it would impact the community. Food bank is just perfect. Because of the community services, those are projects that impact a lot of people. But if you just want to impact 16 and what is it, 16 HUD assisted units and 20 low-income households, that's not a very big impact. But because they work in small communities, that may have an impact. So I'll support whatever the rating would be. But if we're starting to think about impact in the community, we need to start looking for projects that really go a long ways and not just impact 36 people, 30-some people, okay?
Okay. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, it looks to me like you have ranked the food bank as number one.
I rank the food bank number one, and I write Campesinos Sin Fronteras number two,
Campesinos
and
Sin
Housing
Fronteras.
America number three.
Two. Campesinos Sin Fronteras, two,
Yeah, and Housing America three.
and Housing America, three.
Well, I
So-
can vote.
So if we give the 300,000 allocation to Yuma County Food Bank, that leaves us with
Oh, hell.
$80,480.
The only other
For the
thing you
next
have is
project.
Housing America that would fit.
So the question would be, can Campesinos Sin Fronteras do the work with the
Well-
remaining amount, the 80,480,000?
What I would
So-
do is, I'm ranking them by number, by importance, not by how much money they will receive. I think that the idea was for you to spread up the money, and 200,000 for Yuma Community Host Bank, 110 for Campesinos Sin Fronteras, and the 75 for
Housing America.
Housing America. You have to make it work like 660,000. You have to have some. That's what I thought you were going to do. It's impossible to make $660,000. How much you taking out? 82?
We only have 380.
I mean,
Well, no,
Mr.
yeah,
Chairman,
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
we don't know how much money, I've seen 600,000 or almost $600,000 that come in. So you start ranking in by money, then,
That's
I can
correct.
say that we definitely can do 3 projects if it's, but, the way it's ranked and just on the, what the amount of people that that it's gonna benefit, I think, Mr. Reyes just heard the last part of it, but I think this is, every year I do say the same thing, every year. I've been here for 9 years, but this is my 10th year, and it's the same thing every year that I've said it. If we're gonna make an impact, we need to start making an impact on many people. And I can attest to the food bank, yeah, it supports a lot of people, but it's gonna benefit, if we do a project throughout the county, it's gonna benefit a vast majority of people, not only the ones that are qualified to get food. So I'm just saying that's I've been saying, it's not to support just certain people, it's to support many people. So just keep that in mind, because I thought that was the direction that we had set last time. And I'm just kind of, I am upset seeing it again, and, but it's here, so.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is these are the projects that were presented at our first public hearing. There was no projects that came forth that benefit the entire county. So this is why I bring you these 4 projects right now. But I will definitely keep that in mind, and we will work to do something for the entire community for the next CDBG.
Well, the problem that we have here is that we have a situation where cities have their own CDBG money. The metropolitan cities like Yuma, they get their own chunk of the money. So you end up with a situation where the county cannot give anybody anything, which is a gift clause, so we have a state gift clause. So the only thing we can do is distribute money. And so we end up in a situation where distributing money, it's not like cities and towns. Cities normally choose to do their sewer or their water system because it's going to impact an area. But we don't have any sewer, we don't have any water to do that. So we end up with a situation where the only money that we can actually distribute to nonprofits in general, is this money. So ever since I became a supervisor, I always thought, okay, well, this is the only way to impact these community services. Now, the food bank has always been high on the list because they serve a lot of food. They don't necessarily go through a process of selection, but you can tell they do a lot of stuff for a lot of people. And I mentioned Catholic Community Services because I thought that were the same, kind of like the same thing. They help people who have been abused and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So to me, finding different entities that we could support through this money without having to go through the gift clause, without having to go through the mumbo jumbo that applies to any time we spend money, was to me the focus. And the new focus is to do the same thing. I hope we don't end up using the money for our own causes, our own stuff, and then leaving the nonprofits with no options at all, other than the cities and towns, where they can go and get the money. You can go to the city. As a member of the Western Arizona Council of Governments, and having done a lot of the research on how to distribute funds, we ended up with a formula that distributes funds 1 year to the city of San Luis and Somerton, the other year to the county and Welton, because we're not metropolitan. So those are the only opportunities we have every 2 years to distribute these funds. So it's a good thing that we look at things that impact the community, but it's also a good thing that we look for things that have a wide impact in the community, as long as we don't keep the money for our own projects. So I think we can do a lot of stuff with our own money that people can't do without the CDBG money. So that's my position, and it's always been the same position. And it's getting to a point now where I started to see that we're leaning more towards the cities and towards what the counties and other counties do, which is do their own projects with the money, just to impact low-income people in those particular areas. I don't totally agree with that, but I can see where that comes from. I just don't want it to become another source of funds for the county to help themselves. Okay?
I think we need to look at the areas. I mean, basically, B and C Colonia, and it's had many supervisors, that area. And you go through there and it's the same. And it's the same. So my question is, what has the county done for that area? Because it's county. And what has it done? And if we can't use this money to help that area, then we're doing it wrong. We're using this money wrong. Because if we would have helped that area a long time ago, we wouldn't be in this situation right now. I think we would have, like Mr. Reyes says, yeah, give it to nonprofits. But we got to look at our own county first areas that need that help. because that's what this money is for. It was not created for nonprofits. And we can go from the mission, what this money was for, and it was to better areas or beautify areas that are low income, and if they need to be designated slum blight, I'm pretty sure that they won't have an issue for them to and get money to beautify that area and make it a lot better.
Okay.
Well, when I came on board, this money was not used at all. It was refused, it was sent back. So to me, that we're discussing how to use it is much, much better than not discussing how to use it at all. Because this was supposed to be federal funds that came into this town. And at the time, there was a different kind of makeup board, and they said, well, we don't need this money. It's like free money that people don't need. They need to work for it. So to me, discussing who to give it to is kind of a secondary thing, because we're discussing who to give it to, as long as it's not the county projects that I can tell you right now. And when I was chairman, and he's the chairman now, and we could be the chairman, anybody could be the chairman, but the fact is that having someone direct the money to a specific area was not in my mind when we did this. We had this discussion was had a long time ago, 20, 30 years ago, to avoid exactly this, to avoid counties acting like cities and solving their own problems. I don't know how $348,000 is going to solve a problem like the one we have in the colonias, where we spent $18 million already making sure that the colonias had water and sewer. So it's not like we haven't done anything for the colonias in that time. We've done quite a bit in the colonias. We just can't make that. It's a style change. It's a lifestyle change in the colonias. That helping them a little bit doesn't bother me at all. But it's not a county project. It's not a real county project. It doesn't impact all the county. It impacts a certain area of the county. So there's always this pushing and shoving to see which district's going to get the support. It's like when I was a member of the Board of Supervisors in my district, covered the whole of Colonia, and covered sections of Colonia, covered sections of Somerset, covered the Orange Grove. Whenever the Orange Grove became a part of the chairman's district, I side with of relief. I side of relief, because the idea is to teach people to help themselves, so that they can do it again and do it again anytime they need support. The county is not designed to do a lot of the stuff that we're trying to do for people. It's designed to, it's an arm of the state, and basically the state tells us what to do and what not to do. And that was, the CDBG are federal funds that come with different requirements. So that's why we use it differently. And I just want to know, I want everybody to know that the thing I wouldn't like to see is the county starting to suck this in to use it in their projects when the community can be benefited in general. That's it. Now, it's a difference of opinion, but it's not a difference that we have normally shown a vote. It's just that I understand where you're coming from. I was a mayor of a town, so I understand that towns use it for different purposes. But I also see towns like Yuma who have this money set aside simply to do housing or simply to do things that they couldn't do otherwise with their money, because they're running to the same thing. We cannot give away money to areas or to organizations that aren't designed to receive it and use it for the benefit of the community. And I think I'm losing my voice, so I'm going to slow down a little bit.
Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry, Ian, I know that I stopped your presentation.
No, it's fine, and, I guess the point I wanted to make is staff is hearing different directions from the board, so we'll do the best that we can. These are the organizations that came forward. We've heard you loud and clear, Chairman, that you want to see projects that affect positively a lot of people, and particularly in the B&C Colonia area, so we'll seek those projects out. But we need to go with, of course, the consensus of the board for the general direction.
No, I don't have an issue with it. It's already here, but I mean, we can go back and look at those minutes, and I'm pretty sure that the board gave direction to start using that, just like we used it at the park in Tacna. We made that we recommended or gave direction to use that money like that. I mean, we can look at it or go back and find it, but that was the direction that this board gave, because we did talk about it. We saw Gail. Gail went to a meeting one time, and it was a public meeting, like what you do, the process that you go through, and that project was, or that money was going to use for that.
Mr. Chairman,
and I know it was too expensive, but I just see it that just because something's that it's too expensive, then you move it out of the way. You put it second. That's not the way it should be, because I think if we need some, to add a little bit of money, we can find money.
Mr. Chairman,
That was
members
the
of board,
direction
yes.
that we gave.
We're chipping away at the Ferguson Lateral Canal. Like I said, we did apply for another grant. We're getting ready to look at another technical assistance grant and plus this grant. So we are seeking other grants for that project. We are working, as hard as we can to look for those grants for those projects. If your direction is to move a different way in the way that we are presenting our CDBG program, then we can definitely have maybe.
No, I'm not saying different ways. I just said the direction this board gave 2 years ago.
Yes.
That was what we said. It was not, the process, I don't care about the process, but it was just that money was gonna go towards that area. That was the direction. And so obviously it was not used, so it just make me think that obviously if we're not following the direction that the board is giving, then something's wrong. At least that's the way I see it. All right, they're ranked, and so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Amber, would you please put the second ranking, which would be Campesinos Sin Fronteras, can you please put it at 110,000? And then the next ranking would be the Housing America Project at 75,000. And we'll put Comité at 175 as well. I'm sorry? 175, yes. So for any reason that these projects fall through, we will move on to the next project. Just so you're aware of that. If our funding is less or funding is more, then we will have to adjust. We will have to adjust everything after the second project. The first project is $300,000. I don't believe that they will be able to do this project without the entire funding of the $300,000. So it would have to be an allocation that is fully given to them. And then whatever is left from our CDBG money would go to the next ranking project. And if there's money after that, then the third ranking project, because we are allowed to submit 3 applications. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so let's move on to the state special projects. I just need you to rank these 2 projects to see which one we will apply for first when the actual opportunity comes out. It has not been announced, but what project would you like to see us apply for first? There is 2 years, like I said, this is out every 2 years, so we can apply for both these projects, but my question to you today is what project do you want to see applied for first? So Chairman Porches, would you please rank the Ferguson Lateral and the Kiwanis Park?
Just how they are, 1 and 2.
Supervisor Simmons? I think he said same as Mr. Chairman. Yeah.
Kiwanis Park's in my district, but we need to get Ferguson Lateral done, so 1 and 2, the way they're set up.
Okay, so we will go ahead and when the opportunity does come out, if it does come out, we will go ahead and apply for the Ferguson Lateral project first, and then we will move to the TACNA Kiwanis Park for the second year the opportunity comes out. And both of those projects will be applied for at their maximum, which is $500,000. And then we have the Colonia set-aside funding, which is only available to housing projects and water and sewer. So if it's okay with the board, we will apply for the OHR housing at the full amount of $500,000.
Sounds good.
And this is for what?
For the owner-occupied housing rehabilitation program.
And who's doing that?
It's the Yuma County, it's the Yuma County program. So since this is a competitive program, nonprofits normally don't apply to this category, only because it's the efforts that have to go into the preparation for this application do not get reimbursed. So there wouldn't be any administration money beforehand for them to apply
No,
for this.
I thought we didn't do our own projects.
I'm sorry?
I thought we didn't do projects for Yuma County. That's why I see it there.
The Yuma County does have an owner-occupied housing rehabilitation program.
I'm just sorry, Diana, but I heard that, so I'm just being a smart aleck.
I understand, Mr. Chairman. Okay. Any other questions? I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to item number 2, update regarding Yuma County's fixed wireless broadband. Josh?
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Josh Scott, Deputy County Administrator. I was back before you in August with an update on our broadband projects, and I'm back again today to give you a bit of an update on what's transpired over the last 6 months or so. A quick recap on our wireless project to support ag tech. Ag tech encompasses things like autonomous tractors and drones, soil moisture sensors, automated gates, and the Internet of Things that'll help growers more effectively manage their operations. By the county building this infrastructure, it'll lower barriers to entry for technology and communications providers to serve the area. And it'll support multiple communication technologies to provide a reliable and robust network for accurate real-time communications and data acquisition. Ultimately, at the heart of this, it's a water conservation project. So through the use of ag tech, growers will be able to better manage their water and reduce irrigation water usage or produce more crops with the same amount of water. Go for it. I'm going to talk about the funding for this first. So the project is funded with a grant from the governor's office, which was part of the state's ARPA allocation, and this is just a high-level breakdown. We're in the construction phase of the project now, and we've allocated $5.4 million to the construction effort, and with that money, we'll build as many of these wireless towers as we can. So the goal of the project is to provide coverage for the irrigation districts across the county to support broadband communication on farms. The network envisions coverage for more than 150,000 acres within the Yuma area. And that coverage map you see there contemplates 34 towers that would cover that 150,000+ acres. And that coverage map was done as part of an extensive radio frequency study conducted by our contractor for this project, EX2 Technology. We also went through a lengthy design effort on these. When I say towers, these are really monopoles. They're about 50 feet above ground level, not a big giant cell tower, 200 feet like you might see in other places. But we went through a lengthy design effort on what these poles will look like, and that effort was done in conjunction with project stakeholders. And we wanted to ensure that these poles were stout enough to support a variety of technologies, and technologies that aren't just available today, but technologies that probably haven't even been developed yet. So we wanted something that was going to be stout and robust. So as a result, the design of that monopole kind of evolved from a thin, light pole that originally was envisioned to support LTE or small cell technologies to one that'll support multiple technologies, large macro type antennas, multi-sector antennas, so that we can get the coverage we need to serve the farm community. With the available project budget, we'll be able to construct 22 of the 34 sites that would be required for full coverage. And the sites that aren't being constructed with this phase include one in the North Gila Valley near the Gila Monster Ranch, which is outside an irrigation district boundary. And then 11 sites in the Mohawk Valley on the far east end of the project. And much like the pole design effort, the decision on which towers to construct and which not to construct were done in conjunction with stakeholders. However, the project budget will support ordering all 34 towers, so those 12 sites that aren't going to be constructed, we'll stack those poles in our public works yard alongside our traffic signal pole inventory, so that as additional funding becomes available, we'll be able to stand those up pretty quickly. Each tower site will require fiber to the pole as well as permanent power to power providers' radios and equipment. So that's been factored in the power side, and I'll talk about the fiber here and the second part of my presentation when I get to the broadband network. It's kind of hard to see at that scale, but that drawing on the left, that's the engineering drawing for the final design of the tower that we did design up with the stakeholders. Basically, it's 24 inches at the base, and it tapers up to about 17 inches at the top. Again, that top's about 50 feet above ground level. It'll be anchored to a concrete foundation at the base of all of these. And that picture on the right's just to give you an example of what a typical monopole might look like. That one's probably in the same height range, but you see one set of gear at the top there. Keep in mind, ours have been designed to hold 3 to 4, depending on the size and weight of providers' equipment.
Josh, the sites that we have, are they county right-of-way, or we already own the location?
Yeah, so of the 34 sites, 33 are located within county rights-of-way. One is within City of Somerton right-of-way, and we're working with them now on the permitting process. So there is no land acquisition required as part of this project.
Okay, cool.
A quick look at the anticipated project schedule. The monopoles are currently being manufactured, and we expect to have all of them made and delivered by mid-May. However, site work will kick off here in just a few weeks. That'll consist of some site prep and foundation construction for these poles, so that as they're offloaded from the trucks as we receive them, it's probably about as simple as bolting them down to the foundation. That'll take us through the summer, and then we'll be looking to close the project out this August. Are there any questions on the wireless network before I transition to the broadband?
Any questions? No? Go ahead.
So just kind of to recap the why on our middle mile network, the project provides an all underground fiber optic backbone network with the goal of making internet access more affordable, much like the Towers project, by lowering barriers to entry for internet service providers. And the infrastructure the county is putting in the ground today, that'll allow final mile providers to come serve the market at a lower cost to entry, ultimately resulting in savings to our constituents. The network we're putting in is scalable to make it future-proof. It's being constructed with 144 to 288 strand fiber runs, and we're also installing empty conduit alongside of that so that we can pull additional fiber in the future should it be needed to meet additional demand. And ultimately, the project's intent is to ensure that our residents have reliable access to next-generation high-speed internet. The funding on this one, the county put in $18.7 million of its own American Rescue Plan Act funding. We applied for and received a $10 million grant from the Arizona Commerce Authority. The board authorized an additional $234,000 in savings from other ARPA projects. We've received some program income from this as we lease fibers. We are starting to generate some income. It's not a lot at this point, but it is predicted to ramp up as we complete construction of these additional phases. And then the board also authorized the use of up to $788,000 in interest earned on its ARPA money. The total so far allocated to this project is about $29.7 million. A quick look at the phases here. The first phase of the project, it's complete, and it covered the Yuma metro area down to San Luis, city of Somerton. That consisted of about 70 miles of fiber at a cost of $12.3 million. With the ACA grant, we were able to continue our work eastward with phase 2. It's currently under construction. We're just about done with this one. It runs fiber out to the foothills, out to 15E, extends east down Highway 95 to County 3rd Street to the Dome Valley cutoff, and then east through Dome Valley out to Welton and ultimately to Tacna. It was another 69 miles of fiber and about $11.8 million. We hope to see some savings on this one once we do the final project accounting, but that was the project budget. This one had some challenges in the stretch between the Gila River Bridge and the Dome Valley turnoff. ADOT's actively working on the design of their widening through that area, so we had that to deal with, as well as some cultural sites we needed to avoid. So that delayed that piece of construction for a couple of months, but we did come to resolution with ADOT, and that work has since been completed. Phase 3 kicked off here just recently. This will cover the North Gila Valley out to Roll, and then east to Texas Hill. The estimate for this phase is about $5.3 million, and we'll put in another 30 miles of fiber. My graphic here shows 3% complete. We're probably in that 10% range now. I put this together probably close to a month ago now. And then I mentioned during the wireless portion of the presentation that each tower site will require fiber to the monopole, and that's what will ultimately connect the farms and their ag tech back to the internet. So this work could be done under a possible 4th phase with ALLO, and the scope would include extending a 48 fiber strand cable from the backbone network to each site. 2 of those fibers would be dedicated for use by the providers on the monopoles, and the additional strands could be used to provide service to additional last mile customers. To extend the fiber to the 22 tower sites that we're constructing currently, ALLO's provided a cost estimate of $2.4 million. To get that done, that would require the board to allocate additional funding to the Middle Mile Network project. I've listed some potential sources of funding that could help with that. The county does still have some local assistance and tribal consistency funds, the LATCF funds that are unallocated. Those funds were distributed from the federal government as part of the COVID relief money, and the board put a good chunk of money, of that money towards road projects, but we do still have some unobligated funds there. Program income, it's not big dollars, but as that continues to come in, that could be used to help fund this. I think the plan from the beginning was to use that program income to continue expanding our middle mile network to reach more and more of our constituents. The county's ARPA money has continued to generate interest. Some of that could be used to fund a portion of the work as well. And additionally, I mentioned earlier, we anticipate some cost savings coming back in Phase 2 of the Middle Mile project, and hopefully even in Phase 3, so that could be rolled back into the fiber to the towers portion as well. So my ask today to get fiber to these towers is to ask the board to initially use the unallocated LATCF funds, including interest earned on those funds, put that towards the project. That would get us roughly a third of what's needed underway. We could allow Allo to get started on the work, and then once we close out phases 2 and 3 of the project, I could come back and let you know what those savings were and see if you'd be willing to allocate that back to this portion of the work.
God, I got a couple of questions. Maybe they're comments. But the Middle Mile network that we set up was supposed to cover, the idea of it covering the urban areas is a given because, there's enough customers there. The idea is it was going to cost us a lot to get some of the services out to the outlying areas. And that's what I'm seeing now. I'm seeing the Middle Mile extending into areas that are way too far, that have very few customers. And that's where the real cost is going to be. So as a county, I think that if we want the Middle Mile project to work, we're going to have to do what we need to do to make sure that we reach those far places where there's only a few customers left, and that's where the big cost is. The private sector just didn't want to spend the kind of money that it takes to get to those areas and connect so few customers. So it behooves the county to, if it really wants to be a connected county, which is what I think we all think, Yuma County would be really up on the top of the list of counties that are connected through Wi-Fi or through a system. So we've got to be willing to use some of those monies in investing it back into the areas that we can't reach. That was a great boost that the governor gave when she gave us that money to put in that ag system, because obviously in Yuma County, ag is a very important thing. So now you're asking us to set aside some of the income, some of the potential sources of income, and you know of one already, which is the LATCF, and you want us to set aside a third of that that would cover a third of the cost.
Correct.
Is that a third of $2.4 million, or is it a third of the total cost?
A third of the 2.4 million.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so roughly $800,000.
And the rest of it would come from the program or from interest made on the money that's already set in the bank to ARPA. Do we have any issues with any legal issues with expending more money into a project without going out to bid?
Not that I'm aware of. The LATCF funding has very few restrictions on it, and in my conversations with Diana Veloz, it could support broadband expansion.
Okay. Well, I've seen the ALO trucks everywhere, so I know their presence. I just don't know how far they've gone. Because I knew they were going to be in the cities and towns. That's a given. But I didn't realize how much it was going to cost us to get to those, like Martinez Lake and those areas, the Gila Valley or the other side of Welton. That's going to be a costly project, and just want to make sure that just want to make sure that everybody understands that this is not a new program. This is actually a program that we're trying to make work for its intended purposes.
Correct. Yes, expansion of our existing program.
Yeah. And that was the whole
This money, the 2.4, is for that ag tower hours.
That would connect the Middle Mile network to all 30 or to the 22 ag tower sites we're building now, but the number of strands that we're running out to those towers would also accommodate additional customers, not just the towers. Okay. So it's truly an expansion of the Middle Mile network, so we could reach additional customers or residents.
If every strand mile is 48, that would be like 100, almost 100 strands of service that you take it to those areas. That should be enough to cover anyone that lives in that area.
And that was the whole idea on the program, just to take the money that we make from it and reinvest it back into the system to continue to expand it. So,
if what you want is a motion, I can make a motion.
My thing, I totally agree, but I've been getting a lot of questions from residents up on the Mesa side or on Avenue B, all to about between County 3 from County 14, because broadband, it's, you know, I don't think it's still available there. Or is it? Because they say they can't.
I will check with Allo. So we have our middle mile network in the area. Whether Allo has built out that last mile system to the customer's doorstep, I don't know that, but I will certainly find out.
But, or if we have the backbone going through those areas that, okay.
Yeah, the backbone for that phase is in.
It's in. Because, you know, one of the things, when we decided to use ARPA funds, you know, I remember it was that it was going to be for areas that, you know, basically we decided that because it was going to be for areas that were unserviced, you know. Yeah, there's more customers within the cities, but I mean, how much money did the cities give us? That's right, nothing. So, you know, we invested a lot of money to because of those areas that were not serviced, and I mean, I would like to start seeing those areas getting it, or that we start investing money there. But you know, yeah, Allo is doing a great job. They're out there, but that was the purpose of using money from the county, because no other city stepped up and gave us not a single penny, but they're the ones that are benefiting the most.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. I'm meeting with Allo's general manager for Arizona later today, so I'll make it a point to ask about that area specifically and what their plan is for build-out.
I work for the county, not for the cities.
I can understand that. But as I understood, cities paid ALO themselves directly. I mean, as I understand it, the city of San Luis paid like $2 million to something.
No, they did an extra. They did extra.
They connected themselves. They made it possible for the residents, which is what we are intending to do, make it possible for residents. They may be on the spectrum. They may not want to leave. They may be getting the service they want, but it's the areas that don't get the service they want that are the ones that we're trying to reach out in the county. And this is, to me, the second phase, or the phases that expanded into the low areas, those areas that don't have any service, are most important to me, the county areas, like the Orange Grove area that doesn't have service from anyone. And they need it, or if they have service, they have very weak service. So it's good to remind them that when this thing is done, ALO should be able to say that everybody's getting served by this, including people that live in the far reaches of the county.
Well, and also too, I'd like to start looking at like 15E going south from South Frontage, and maybe even 48th Street between Foothills and 15E, just because that's such a developing area, and it'll open it up a lot more, I think,
for
access.
So what we're asking for you, Scott, is to make sure that they understand that the concept of fiber optic, is to reach those people that don't have access to that.
Yeah,
it's not to make sure that the urban dwellers get more service, a better service, which is what I hear all the time. Well, better service, contact ALO, but that's not the point. The point is where can you contact ALO? If it's in a city, then that's a simple thing. You could have contacted for the best service from Spectrum. But if it is out in the outlying areas where they don't have services, that would be a great achievement, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah, I mean, that was basically the underserved.
The underserved.
I remember that.
Yes.
That was the main thing we used this money for, and we can be the the leaders in the state or in the country, but we're not serving the underserved, and that was the whole purpose of that money. So.
And Mr. Chairman, just a thought that another purpose of the middle mile is to lower that cost of entry for ISPs. Allo is not the only one who can connect to the middle mile. It's open to all ISPs, all internet service providers, to do that final mile location. So we'll look at doing a better job at marketing our middle mile, making sure ISPs are aware, because it doesn't have to be Allo to do that final connection. It's open to anyone. And that lower cost of entry is a real big difference, particularly in the rural areas.
That's right.
Yep.
You need a
You
motion.
need a motion for this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would appreciate a motion to allocate unobligated LATCF funds, including interest, to the project.
So move.
Well, I'll make a motion that we use the LATCF program income and ARPA interest to continue funding.
I'm only asking for the interest on the LATCF funds
On
at
the
this point.
LATCF?
Yeah, not
Okay.
the ARPA interest.
Oh, is that-
Okay, there's
that
a,
I'll make a motion that we use the LATCF
funds to
funding.
cover the cost. I'll second that motion.
there's a motion and a second to use LATCF funds. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Moving on to rezoning. Planning and zoning agenda, full legal descriptions of the property sites for all rezoning cases are available for public review at Yuma County Board of Supervisors Office. Rezoning, regular public hearing items, staff will make a full presentation of each of the following items, followed by separate discussion. Public hearing and action by the Board of Supervisors. Item number 1, text amendment case number 2505.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of
Morning.
Supervisors, Ty Martinez, Chief Building and Fire Code Official. I'm here to speak briefly regarding the text amendment for the Yuma County Comprehensive Building Safety Code. As of February 1st, 2026, City of Yuma started doing the administration and the enforcement of the 2024 International Building Code, 2024 International Residential Code, and the 2024 International Existing Building Code. State statute requires us gives us 90 days to either adopt the amended code from the largest municipality or to adopt a national unamended code. History has been that we've always adopted the city amended code. I was able to participate in the code adoption process. I was invited by the building official from the City of Yuma, Randy, to participate with the intent that whatever was amended and adopted in the city would also work for the county. So I feel confident that what was amended and adopted would work great for Yuma County as well.
Any questions for staff?
I don't like it, but I'm gonna let it go.
Well, you know, there's something that I do want to share with you, Supervisor Reyes. So in Chapter 1 of the code, it does give the building official the ability and the powers to create policies and procedures for code compliance. So it does give us the flexibility to always be Yuma County and allow the city to be the city.
Well, like I said, I just don't like the fact that we're adopting regulations from cities because most people that move in the county think they move in the county for a different thing, which is not to live under the regulations the city has. The moment we adopt those regulations, we become just the same. We have to make those regulations apply. Otherwise, what good are they? So to me, every time you adopt a regulation, you have to be careful that the impact is going to be that you're making people live outside the city, but with city requirements. And we don't have water, sewer, and some of those things that people can consider critical. Because that's what the complaints you're gonna get. You're gonna get complaints that people live in the county and they have to follow the same rules as the city. Not that people who live in the county should live like the way they want to. I'm a witness of we have been trying to go past County 16 in the corner there, and it looks like Chainsaw Massacre happened there. But
What
in front of the mortuary, and everybody knows that house, and I don't understand why whenever there's a condemnation, it doesn't happen in that place. But anyway, going back to what you said, well, I'll approve it, but we'll see.
What's the year on the code now we're using?
I'm sorry?
What
What
years?
what code year are we using?
We're currently on the 2018 codes.
2018.
Okay.
Not that backdated, it's just,
Yeah.
it's been 5 years at least that we use that code.
There is an item that I do want to share with you guys. There is a big change to the adoption. And the biggest change was that in previous years, the city didn't adopt Chapter 11 of the Building Code, and that's the accessibility portion of the code. In the past, we were just working off the ADA requirements to do that, but we did have a push from the community, from the public, to adopt Chapter 11. of the code. And though you see that in larger areas of the state. And the reason for that the public push for that was for the requirements for accessibility to portions of the building and also for adult changing stations. That was a big push for adult changing stations. And I am happy to say that the Foothills Park does have an adult changing station in those facilities there. So that push came from the public. So we have adopted Chapter 11 of the building code for accessibility.
All right.
Right. I'm glad at the end of that tunnel.
Any more questions for staff?
No.
All right, thank you. I'll go ahead and open the public hearing.
Thank you.
Anybody from the public? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for.
I'll make a motion, we approve text amendment case 25-05 as presented.
I'll second that because I don't think we have much of a quorum, but with reservations.
There's a motion and a second to approve text amendment case number 25-05. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I know I was gonna wake you up with that one.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item number 2, special use permit case number 25-20.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Jesus Carrillo, Senior Planner.
Morning.
Presenting special use permit case 2520. This request is to allow a philanthropic 12-step group meeting facility at the property zone manufactured home subdivision. And the facility is known as the Alano Club. This is the zoning map. The subject property, it's in the highlighted in red with the crosshatch in the center. Property is surrounded by different zoning districts, RBS across the street from 38th Street on the north. Also some RBS on the west and MHS 20 on the south. We have some C2 on the west, on the east of the property. This is the subject property, the aerial imagery. Property is outlined in blue. And is currently on location of a manufactured home. And this is another aerial view of the sort of property. And this is the site plan that was submitted by the applicant. And this is the floor plan with the existing layout and what he's proposing. Staff received 6 letters in opposition from property owners within the notification area. This does not trigger supermajority vote by the board of supervisors. And Planning Commission recommends approval of special use permit case 2520 with the performance condition listed on the slide. And Planning Commission recommend the operational condition listed on this slide. And that concludes staff presentation. Properties outlined in red are the properties in opposition. Any question for staff?
Now, the fact that this is a special use permit, if we start seeing violations or complaints or problems, we can rescind it.
If they don't follow the operational conditions, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff? Did they say at least the amount of members they're gonna have, or?
They do not list the amount of members they're gonna have because it depends on the season, but the applicant is present. He will answer those questions.
And I'm just, because of the parking, obviously, parking's gonna be inside, huh? Or they gotta?
It's on-site parking.
On-site parking, so.
Yes, that's gonna be operation number 2. They have to accommodate all those parking spaces on the inside of the property. So,
Okay.
and same thing with the parking, they need to make some improvements. They have to do some ABC gravel.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions for the applicant?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward.
I'll go ahead and open it up, open up the public hearing. And I know I have a speaker form for that. Aaron?
Mr. Chairman, good morning, members of the board. Aaron Selly at 728070001 APN number. This facility is a great location. The original facility was handed over to the fire department just south on Foothills Boulevard so they could build the new fire station there. But that 12-step group has been in existence since the late 50s that I could at least research until then. There is a traffic signal. A lot of the original complaints that happened at the planning and zoning meeting were with regards to traffic, but there is a current signal on 38th Street. And I think it makes very simple for the people to come in 38th, park on location, and it is surrounded on the east as stated by C2. So it's not a complete and total difficulty for the neighborhood to get around that. Also, parking on 38th Street is okay anyway, so if there is overflow, I would like to see that requirement removed because there's plenty of parking on 38th and that street has cars parked on all the time anyway from the residences. If they need to move people in and out, this is a great thing for the community to have back because these people need a place to go. They need a place to go through the steps, and I think it is a great benefit to the community and the people at large. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Well, and they can park on the street. They don't need to say where they're going, so.
Pretty good.
Well, good morning. My name is Mike Scariot, and thank you for the opportunity to address you this morning. My wife and I are the ones that are applying for the special use permit. You can tell I'm not a public speaker, but with the purpose of providing a location for the Foothills Alano Club to meet, which was mentioned was previously up on Foothills Boulevard for a period of 12 years, I believe, and there was never any problem with that. But some of the concern from the public at the Planning Commission was that they felt it should have been held in more of a commercial type venue. I researched that, and it's just really not feasibly possible just due to the cost. This piece of property became available and I felt it would be a real good location due to the size of it, basically, because will be ample parking on site. We will not need we will not be any reason to park on the street. It's basically our membership. Generally, there's probably maybe 20 people in the meeting, maybe 25. So matter of cars, I had originally stated 20, but I don't think it's even that. It's rarely more than, say, 10 to 12 cars that are in the parking at any time, maybe with the exception of, there's a ladies' meeting that meets that has a large attendance, which would be more, but other than that, I don't think they'll even realize we're there, to be honest with you. So I appreciate your input on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public?
My name's Mike. Me and my son live next door, and we've lived there for the last 3 years. And the neighborhood's changing. There's kids coming in, families moving in. It used to just be all snowbirds and stuff, and it's not really going to fit our neighborhood. They talk about the property. The reason the property came available is, well, the people moved, but before that, they couldn't sell it because they did get a special permit for the car wash. I think it's just moving commercial deeper and deeper into the neighborhood. It's not a good place for it. They should have it more commercial, a more commercial place. But that's pretty much all I've got to say.
Can you state your address?
It's 12527 East 38th. It's the property directly right next door.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else from the public?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members.
Morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, staff. I live in the area. I live there 6 months out of the year. I come down from Canada.
Could you please state your first and last name?
My name is Dennis Fensky. Dennis Fensky, 12773 East 37.
Thank you.
And I have a safety concern with this issue. I think the neighborhood um, doesn't, it's a quiet, retired residential neighborhood. And the concern about addicts coming into the neighborhood, that's something I think we have to, we don't know what kind of addicts are going to come into the neighborhood because of this Alano Club. There's a lot of Alano Clubs in the United States, and it's a kind of a growing industry, even though it's a nonprofit. So the issue of security and safety for the neighborhood is paramount. A lot of the people that I've talked to in the neighborhood are, well, there's no guarantee what's going to happen. This is a wide open addiction program. So in a few years, it's at 5 years. For 5 years, a lot of things can happen, and it is a commercial. So it didn't. Once maybe that's just the intent of this application, is to make that land commercial. I don't know. There's 4.80 acres in that little block, and most of it is nonprofit. At any rate, I would ask the board to reject this application on grounds that it's not supported by the community. We don't need it. They brought in I think there's 5 pedophiles came into the neighborhood in the last week or so, and they're addicted, and there's no changing those addictions. And I think that's something that people have to keep in mind, that addiction is an addiction, and it's a self-disease. And I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
If you have any questions,
Any questions?
No.
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public?
Good morning. My name's Lacey Tell. It's T-E-L-L. Yeah, I've got a little over 30 years sober myself. And AA and these recovery meetings have helped me stay sober. And we're not playing any music or getting loud there. We're not interrupting anybody around us. And I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, I think it's a great thing that we can have someone open another place for us there, and I don't think we're going to be interrupting any of the neighbors at all. That our members are, it is not a recovery house where you got a lot of new people coming in and that are just starting out. Most of these are a lot of people with time that are just want to go to a meeting and spread our word to somebody else, or just share our lives. So thank you.
Can you state your address?
Pardon me?
Your address?
13442 East 42nd Drive.
Thank you.
Yeah, in the foothills. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name's Larry Littrell. I live at 13370 East 44th Street. I'm a recovering alcoholic addict. I've been sober 24 years. And the Alano Club that used to be on Foothills Boulevard was a contributing factor to me buying a house in Yuma because of the benefit of having a building that we can come and enhance our sobriety. I've been involved in the Alano Clubs. I was the president of the Alano Club in Kalispell, Montana for 5 years. And we never had any trouble with the neighbors, or it's just a great place for people that are trying to better their lives to come and be in a safe place. And that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lisa Leonard, and I live at 9351 East 28th Street in Yuma. And I am an alcoholic, coming up on 6 years of sobriety. And I got sober before that Alana Club on Foothills Boulevard disbanded. But I do know that there's over 90 meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous in Yuma alone. Most of them are at churches scattered throughout the city. I attend a meeting every Tuesday and Friday, my home group. To my knowledge, there's not been any complaints from the neighbors about people parking or being rowdy. We're not a rowdy bunch. So I've not heard any complaints on that. I do know that people that come into a 12-step program are there to change their behaviors. They're done with addiction. They're ready to move on with their lives. Realize they have hit their bottom, and it's either you get better or you die. And they're there for recovery. And recovery is a beautiful thing. It's a group effort. It's not a single person effort. And I think the Alano Club is very beneficial to the community at large. I understand the concerns about having it in a neighborhood, but we're the people that you want in your neighborhood. We're very, the program teaches us to be very honest with ourselves and with others. So we're the kind of people that you want in your neighborhood because we're not going to tolerate anything that's going afoul. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public? I'll go ahead and close the call to the public and bring it back to the board.
Chairman.
Any questions?
Chairman, I just want to make a statement. Because this is a special use classification permit, I was surprised at how little restrictions you put on the site, such as hours of operation or a fence or anything else. But I do recognize that almost nobody wants anything in their neighborhood that doesn't apply to them. I mean, that's a normal reaction of human beings. But this thing has a 300-point approval rating, which means that the staff is recommending approval. The Planning and Zoning Commission is recommending approval. And we understand it's going to change the lifestyle of some of the people that live around there a little bit. But is it necessary? Is it one of those necessary programs? I believe so. And so it's unless you have something that is really outstanding, asking, not unless they have like bands or something at night or something that makes a lot of noise, which they didn't put anything on and nobody said anything. And I think somebody said that this wasn't a party place or that it wasn't going to get rowdy. So I don't see many, other than the fact that you don't want it in your neighborhood. It's like having a collection area or having something. If anything, everybody that goes through those problems needs to have help. And at least I think so. And so having them everywhere, it's like having a house for people that get aggressive with other people, for lack of a better word. Not drug abuse necessarily, but other kinds of abuse, domestic abuse. So unless there's somebody that has a big problem with it that is going to change their neighborhood where I live, I don't see any big draws against it.
Well, I understand the people's concerns, but this also, it's a special use permit, so if issues do come up, it can be revoked and taken away. Looking at the site, you have commercial on the west side, and I remember when they were over on 44th and Foothills, I don't remember any problems coming from that location. When I was the lieutenant out there or since, before Rural Metro took it over. So if nobody has any questions, I'm going to make a motion that we approve special use permit case 2520 as presented.
I'll second the motion.
There's a motion and a second to approve special use permit case number 25-20. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to legislative issues. Alejandro.
Were you using that? Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Alejandro
Morning,
Figueroa,
Alejandro.
Economic Development and Intergovernmental Affairs for Yuma County. Alrighty, so today marks day 39 of the session. We're almost halfway there. To date, more than 1,900 bills have been introduced between the House and the Senate, with more than 2,100 total measures when including resolutions and memorials. We're approaching key policy committee deadlines, which would significantly narrow the number of bills that continue moving forward. From this point on, we expect to see increased floor activity in preparation for crossover to the opposite chamber. As you can see on the screen, on February 20th, bills must clear policy committees in the original chamber or they are unlikely to advance. This is a key narrowing point. And then next week, February 23rd through the 27th, bills that pass the chamber of origin move to the opposite chamber for review. On March 27th, deadline for bills to be heard in the opposite chambers committees. April 17th, it's a final opportunity to resolve differences between the House and the Senate versions and conference committees. And then April 25th, it's supposed to be the 100-day and hopefully sunny day for the session. Now, I'd like to highlight a few legislative items that we're tracking on your behalf. SB 1419, the Solar Energy Consumer Protection Bill. Senator Carroll is a sponsor of that bill, and it's a Yuma-backed bill focused on protecting homeowners. It increases transparency in solar contracts and financing, including warranties, roof condition, and long-term cost impacts. It adds accountability through stronger licensing standards and third-party inspections when warranted. And the goal is very simple: protect residents while maintaining a healthy and responsible solar market in our growing community. The bill passed committee 5-2 and is now headed to rules and eventually COW and the floor, hopefully. We've established communication with the solar industry and we're working on amendments with them. The committee has instructed both sides to sit down and agree on a few amendments to the bill before moving forward. So we're working on that. 1241, the bill removes local control over core permitting and inspection functions. It allows private entities to issue permits and certificates of completion without a county approval. The county will be required to accept those permits with limited ability to ensure compliance or consistency with local standards. Our concern is maintaining public safety, accountability, and uniform application of building codes across Yuma County. Per your direction, we're opposing this bill. Unfortunately, it passed the committee, being a bill sponsored by the chairwoman of the committee. And we'll keep watching it. We'll keep working with CSA and the League of Cities and Towns to see if we can either kill it or amend it to where it's really not impactful for Yuma County. SB 1161, it protects $750,000 already appropriated for the Yuma County Family Advocacy Center. It exempts the funds from lapsing and ensures the dollars remain available if project timelines extend beyond the fiscal year. And this provides a financial certainty and supports continued services for children and families in our community. The bill passed with bipartisan support, and we're locked in support of it as well. Moving on to HB 2324, the bill streamlines fire code enforcement for county buildings located within city limits. If approved by the state fire marshal, municipalities can assume sole inspection authority when their codes meet or exceed state standards. It reduces duplicative inspections and improves efficiency while maintaining safety standards. As you can remember, this bill is also a Yuma-backed bill through the CSA board, and it fortunately passed committee unanimously, 7-0, and it's moving forward very well. 1762, it authorizes a state land auction and provide an appropriation to support park development in Yuma County. The funds would be exempt from lapsing, allowing flexibility in project timing. The sponsor has held the bill for potential future discussion, and Yuma County has signed in support. If the bill moves forward, we will have to take into consideration the land value and the long-term maintenance cost and a possible partnership structure for it. Lastly, 2304, this bill appropriates, I'm sorry, supports transportation funding package appropriating state dollars for highway, bridge, and infrastructure improvements statewide. This bill, I'm sorry, includes $8.3 million for Yuma County's request for US 95 repayment project. It also distributes money for the city of Somerton and the amount of $1.6 million for the improvements on Main Street, $38 million for a Hiller River Bridge replacement and expansion on US 41. It sends money to the city of Yuma in the amount of $6 million for 40th Street and State Route 195, and also $3 million for the city of Yuma for traffic signal upgrades. So given the local direct benefit and economic importance of this corridor, staff recommends a position of support. Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I would appreciate if the board can direct me and the lobbyist to sign in support or testify in support of this bill.
No, I think it's necessary. Yeah, I think we should support it.
Thank you.
Tony said no. Oh no, he did say yes.
I agree. We need to.
Yes, we should support it.
Thank you, sir. On the federal side, DHS, as you know, has been experiencing funding short-term lapses tied to the unresolved fiscal year 26 appropriations. While frontline border operations generally continue to support, functions such as TSA and FEMA can be affected. Congress is expected to return from recess next week, at which point appropriations negotiations are expected to resume. For Yuma County, funding stability is important for travel, emergency coordination, and intergovernmental planning. Staff will continue monitoring developments as Congress works towards long-term funding solutions. On the Colorado River post-2026 rules, the basin states were unable to reach agreement on post-2026 operating framework. The Bureau of Reclamation's draft environmental impact statement is open for comment through March 2nd, 2026. Unfortunately, fortunately, I don't know how Supervisor Lyons would see this. Federal rulemaking is increasingly likely. Any adjustment to Arizona's allocation structure could directly impact agriculture, water planning, and long-term economic stability in Yuma County. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Go ahead. Supervisor Lyons, we can barely hear you or understand what you said.
No.
No. Did you had a comment?
We shut you down anyway.
Yes, all right.
I'm under the impression that the lower basins did respond, send a letter to the upper basin states. Is that cool? Oh, I see.
And lastly, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Senator Ruben Gallego is in Yuma County today and will be holding a town hall meeting in San Luis this afternoon. And with that, I conclude my presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Alejandro?
Yeah, what's the agenda with Senator Gallegos? Does he have a particular agenda? Visit the border?
Just the forum.
Yeah. Or just a visit?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Reyes, he is holding a meeting right now at GYPA. And then he's going to be holding a meeting at 3:30 at the Cesar Chavez Cultural Center. It's a town hall meeting.
Is it 3:30 or 4:30?
I understand. It is my understanding it's at 3:30 p.m. this afternoon.
Okay.
Better be early than late. Better be there.
Thank you, Alejandro.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Question: Are you going to go to the National League of Cities and Towns meeting in Washington? So
Yeah.
You're leaving tomorrow?
Saturday.
Saturday? Okay. I just wanted to ask a couple of questions on it, but I'll ask you later.
Calendar events, current events. Mr. Simmons, you have any?
Just had a meeting with Animal Controller Humane, trying to revamp regulations for
Loose and vicious animals, to give the county more authority to deal with these situations instead of just a fine and release them back. So we're trying to stiffen the penalties and make it a more workable solution. Had the BOS work session with COCOPA, LAPC, met with several different constituents reference to traffic issues in the foothills, and that's about it.
There are two things I remember I need to mention. One is meeting with Ms. Grijalva, the new congresswoman in San Luis, and having to explain to her that now that the focus is starting to get off the current border crossing, which is the one in San Luis, that we needed to start a focus on our direction on the new one, on the other one, the one to the east, and try to make that a full-blown service crossing. It may necessitate private sector to come in and build a bridge or something, but we need to start working on making that. Otherwise, this concept of devising or having people come from everywhere to try to cross to Mexico at the same time, and on one single crossing, is just going to continue growing. The city of San Luis is experiencing a lot of problems with that between 3 in the afternoon and 5 or 6. It splits the sound in two. That's been done for years. It's been done for years. And then the second part of that is to make sure that the Mexican officials understand the importance of getting that border crossing built into Mexico, because I think the contractor on this side is ahead of schedule. So they need to know that they should start doing their construction now if they want to have to meet the deadlines that they have set now. And the second one is I have shoulder surgery, so I was a little late. Those pain pills and sleeping pills are pretty good.
Which one?
Oh yeah, don't touch it. Don't touch it. I feel blessed to have such a group of people that can handle everything. So thank you very much for your patience, and I try as much as I can to make it on time, especially right now. But we'll get better. I hope.
Thank you, Tony. I will say thanks again, Ian, for that meeting that we had with the COCOPAs. It was great. They really liked it and appreciate that we had that meeting with them. And then and maybe or we can talk about. But I did see Frank just to get some information on Avenue B and I-95 right at that the intersection there by the prison. I've been getting some questions about the turning lanes there. So I know it's part of the state, but so let's see what we can figure out there. And Ian?
Thank you, Chairman. Presented to the Yuma Rotary, they invited me to come by about all the good things going on in Yuma County. Attended the Community Resource Day event put on by the Assessor, Recorder, and Treasurer. Attended the Celebration of Life for USDA's Arizona Housing Program Director Godfrey Hines, the Redondo Dinner and Auction. Hosted the Manager Administrator Lunch for the city and town managers here in Yuma County and deputy managers. Work session with the COCOPA Indian Tribal Council, as the chairman mentioned. Arizona County's Insurance Pool meeting, CSA's County Managers Association meeting, and attended the Yuma County Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors meeting. Thank you.
I do not want to forget that we had that memorial for Mr. Hines. So that was an oversight on my part, but he was a state director of housing, so we had a lot of actions between us. And when he passed, he was remembered. So that's also something I attended that I forgot. That was last Friday, or Friday before last. Thank you.
All right. And we'll go ahead and move our executive session till the next regular council or board meeting. So no meeting for today. No executive session. No. Meeting adjourned.
Frank, I need to talk to you for a second. Yeah, then Frank, don't go.
The money. Hey. For the, okay. No, no, we